What's worse than being born into an all-women cult away from civilization and led by a creepy, sociopath male leader who serves as your teacher, father, and husband all at once? Well, that's the reality that young cult member Cella has to face, as she starts to question the cult's teachings and its existence in general while dealing with puberty at the same time. Will she be able to handle all these at once? Let's find out. We were introduced to two young women by a small waterfall as they joke around and laugh before traveling through rugged land to reach their unusual home somewhere in the middle of the woods. They live within an all-women commune in a small settlement, where the women do literally everything from cooking to fixing up their trailer home and doing other regular chores. We now skip to dinner time where we see all the women lined up at the table with a fairly middle-aged man leading them at the front that we call Shepherd. If this seems like a normal dinner scene for you, well, too bad it isn't, as this man just straight up called the women his wives and daughters. Yes, that's right. All the women wearing maroon dresses are his wives, and the ones wearing green are all his daughters from the said wives. Now we get how he's called the shepherd, though. This man seems to be obsessed with the concept of being in a flock of sheep. A weird way of telling you're into polygamy, but okay. The group stops eating when Shepherd demands their attention, but it's because it's now time for Shepherd to choose a wife to whom he could give his so-called grace. In short, he just wants his happy fun time, and he chooses a wife every single day for that. Disgusting. The next day, Cella, our main character and one of Shepherd's daughters, spies on Shepherd as she also wants to be chosen by him for his happy fun time. To receive his grace. She sees two women, one of them pregnant, go out of his trailer home. It seems like Shepherd chose two wives to have fun with last night then. After a session of his misogynistic teachings to the women and their exaggerated praying to him, Cella and Shepherd walk beside each other. Shepherd dodges the question when Cella asks how he met her mother and ends the conversation by complimenting her looks instead. Cella is left weirdly smiling after that. Geez, that man's literally your father. Cella's longing for Shepherd's grace shows when she becomes jealous after a new wife, Eloise, tells Cella and another daughter of her happy fun time experience with Shepherd. Cella's really frustrated because she states that Eloise is just her age, yet she already is one of Shepherd's wives. Another wife rushes to stop the argument and punishes Cella of delivering food to a distant hut away from their settlement. This is where we learn that distant hut is home to the menstruating women of the group, along with a former wife named Sarah, as they need to be separated from the others for being impure. Seriously, Shepherd should have taken biology classes first before trying to lead a cult full of women. Just how dumb can this guy get? Cella, ever faithful, despises the menstruating women and tells them they're miserable. Sarah takes it lightly and tells the young girl that her time will also come and Shepherd won't be pleased with her anymore. But yeah, if I were Sarah, I would just encourage the other menstruating women to get the hell out of the cult by simply escaping the hut. Since it's a bit distant from the settlement, Shepherd won't even notice them. Considering Shepherd isn't a godlike figure that has powers and is just as human as them, they should take this chance to escape as a group and never come back. Just get prepared for the painful period cramps while they're at it though. Back at the settlement, Cella is tasked to watch over the flock of sheep. After a quite trippy scene, we see a female sheep give birth to a skinned lamb. Cella checks herself and finds out that she's having her first period, which causes her to freak out. Her karma is indeed fast after calling the menstruating women miserable a while ago though. Cella desperately tries to hide her bleeding, which is completely easy if she knows that pads exist, but too bad she doesn't since they're too far away from civilization and is taught by Shepherd himself that menstruating women are impure. What Cella should do is create a makeshift pad made of any clean spare cloth present. It could be a dish rag, a washcloth, or a small cut-off piece of cloth from her dress. This should stop leaking her period for a few good hours and just wash it thoroughly and discreetly on the small waterfall from the beginning to use it again the next day. That night, Tamar, one of Shepherd's daughters who is closest to Cella, asks about what happened with the sheep a while ago. Cella tells her that a wild dog killed the lamb, but this is nowhere near the truth as we find out that she is actually lying and she really ended the poor lamb out of frustration after finding out that she's having her period. She is called in by Shepherd for not watching the sheep properly, but is forgiven regardless. After her conversation with Tamar, Cella peeks out the window and sees a cop talking to Shepherd and telling him that they should move out of the land they're in. Well, great. The authorities actually know this cult exists but did not even dare to question it even once. The next day, Shepard announces to the group that they will be leaving and find a new home. He also makes moves towards Cella like a creep, making her slowly become suspicious of the cult's beliefs, as she should. After a night of bad dreaming about slaughtered lambs and bleeding, Cella and the group head on their journey into the woods to search for their new home. While they were exploring, they stumble upon a rundown cottage. With just a few touches and cleaning, this should be good to consider their new home, as Cella suggests. However, Shepard disagrees and tells her that it's a broken place made by broken people. From this point on, I'm starting to wonder if Shepard is mentally ill, a man high on drugs, an alpha male wannabe, or all of the above. The group eventually finds a clearing not too far from the cottage, in which they've set up camp temporarily. Cella tries to relax by the bonfire but sees Shepard and a wife doing business inside a tent. Gosh, all this man does in his life is pretend to be a god, manipulate women, and choose a wife to have a happy fun time with every day. Judging by the number of his daughters in the group, it seems like he really just couldn't get enough of his messed up lifestyle. After their happy fun time, the wife doing business with Shepard a while ago shows Cella a handprint wound on her neck, which was obviously done by him. Instead of getting jealous about it, Cella stares in disgust. What an improvement from a while ago when she got jealous of the new wife. Before continuing on their journey, Cella throws up at a tree as a complication of her period and is caught by Sarah, and later is also caught by the whole group that she has menstruation. And you know what's next? That's right, she is deemed impure now by the cult. And because of that, she has to walk with Sarah and keep a distance from the other members. Bad weather causes the group to stop by for a moment and rest. Cella asks about Sarah's past and why she's punished by Shepard, to which Sarah says that it is for her vanity. However, Cella is skeptical and proceeds to ask about her mother. Sarah confesses that Cella's mother did not die from childbirth like she was always told, but instead died of an infection after Shepard refused to take her to the hospital because it was a test of faith. Poor her. The group continues their journey, and Cella begins to fantasize about a life outside of the cult when a car passes by. Surely what Sarah had said about her mother's death a while ago just woke something up inside her and made her realize that this cult is not as good as she have always thought. This is proven more when a pregnant wife boastfully shows her baby bump to Cella at dinner, but she is unfazed and not feeling jealous anymore. Good for her. Finally, Cella's days of being impure were over when her menstruation ends and she can walk again with the others. Well, temporarily, because for sure the others will freak out again when she makes a comeback next month as an impure woman. Goodness, that's really hard and weird to say for someone like me who is aware of how the human body works. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Shepard. While they were still walking, a pregnant wife, Adriel, suddenly goes into labor with Shepard, not giving a at all about what's happening. Really, Shepard? The group goes into another clearing in the forest, as Adriel screams at the top of her lungs while pushing her baby out. Cella and Tamar comfort Adriel's firstborn daughter while this happens, but unfortunately, Adriel does not survive. Her little daughter embraces her lifeless body, but Shepard insists that she should get off as they will begin burning Adriel. Shepard, just let the poor little girl grieve, will you? That's a real sociopath right there. Looking back, Adriel's death during childbirth could have been prevented if they sought help for it. In the previous scenes, they were seen walking by the roadside with a few cars passing by. That means they're actually closer to civilization than we have thought. The women shouldn't just mind about Shepard and instead prioritize Adriel and ask for help from one of the vehicles passing by. They also know what a hospital is, and Shepard doesn't care anyway, so it's not an excuse to just let Adriel give birth without professional help while they can still ask for it. Sarah, who is sick and tired of Shepard, calls him by his real name, which is Michael, and blames him for what happened to Adriel. Eventually, she decides to adopt the baby after Shepard wants to abandon it because his masculinity and ego is so fragile that he's mad it's a boy. Before leaving, Sarah gives Cella words of encouragement by telling her that she and her sisters are strong. Good move right there, and congratulations to her because she just escaped this twisted cult and can start a new life now with the baby boy. Now let's see if Cella can do the same later on. Eventually, the group grow tired of walking. Well, who will not get tired after walking for literal days or even weeks? They're so tired and frustrated with their trip that Tamar suggests taking a rest in the distance. Can you guess Shepard's response to this? A. Be a loving father and husband for once and make the women rest. Or B. Beat Tamar for literally no reason at all. That's right, Shepard does not take this lightly and decides to beat Tamar and humiliate her before giving the other women a speech about having faith. Wow, the duality of this man from being an a-hole to a motivational speaker is insane. But in all seriousness, these women really need to team up at this point and just beat the out of Shepard. One man versus 10 or more women. Shepard obviously doesn't stand a chance considering that he's just a normal human like the women and not some supreme being that he always thinks he is. After the excruciating scene of Shepard beating Tamar, they continue to walk as if nothing happened. Cella, already furious as hell, tells Tamar that she doesn't deserve what Shepard did to her a while ago. With that, they arrive at a lakeside area which Shepard calls Eden. After setting up camp in that area, Cella, Tamar, and another daughter were baptized by Shepard. Not sure what is this for within their group, but we later find out that it's a coming-of-age ceremony of the daughters who can now be chosen by Shepard to sleep with him when Cella is called in later that night. Tamar warns Cella not to go, but her curiousness gets way ahead of her and goes to Shepard's tent. Maybe she should listen to Tamar this time. Shepard instructs Cella to lie down, then begins weirdly kissing his literal daughter and attempting his happy fun time. However, Cella resists when Shepard begins putting his finger inside her mouth to choke her. Good move, but Cella can get any better than that if she will just bite his finger while it's still in her mouth. Cella becomes really furious and begins to dream of her and her sisters killing and devouring Shepard together. Guess this is a sign that they should do some sort of rebellion by now. Even though Shepard's the only one allowed to tell stories in the group, Cella tells an empowering story about rebellion and freedom to her sisters the very next day. They should recreate that one scene in Shrek the Third where the princesses revolt against the soldiers. But this one's pretty easy because their enemy is a single man who looks like Aquaman on drugs. However, the next day, the daughters are surprised to find out that all the wives are gone and Shepard drowned them all. What the hell? The reason for this? He says that it's necessary to give the wives eternal life and make the daughters a replacement for them. Yup, he's literally trying to promote the poor young women into being his new wives. And of course, Cella doesn't take it as it is this time, as she refuses Shepard's offer to become his new wife and receive his grace. That's right, time to end that perverted man's bloodline right there. What happens next is unknown, but we get to see two police officers casually stopping by a stream in a forest and seeing the drowned women. Rest in peace. And I really do hope they will find peace after being wives to a creepy pervert. The two police officers also find Shepard's lifeless body, tied between two trees. Such a satisfying sight if you ask me. The perpetrators also placed a ram horn on his head, symbolizing the flock that he's trying to portray by leading women and making them objects for pleasure. Good thing this man's left for dead now. This should be in a top satisfying things video or something. And there we see Cella and her sisters standing in front of a waterfall with all their hair unbraided and showing that they're finally free from the cult. The movie does not make it clear whether or not they're the ones who ended Shepard, but it is obvious that they are, and good for them. Well, what a satisfying ending we have there. Cella and the daughters deserve their freedom, and Shepard's fate is fulfilling considering that he did all these women wrong for many years. Although they could have done better and added more action than just putting out random cutscenes of Cella's dreams, this movie's a pretty good one with the cinematography and acting. Moral lesson for the ladies, don't believe a crazy stranger when he tells you you're broken and you need him. Moral lesson for the guys, pay attention to science class and don't do drugs. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching guys, binge another one and peace out.